In the last stream, we were working our way through the Act Beta Industrial Age questline, and we managed to get plastic sheets made. Quite a few of them, in fact, over in our heat frame enclosed chest. We now have almost a stack and a half of plastic sheets, which I think today should be enough for us to complete the Industrial Age questline, which, as we saw last time, is going to involve us making some of the PCBs from a Pneumatic craft using the UV lightbox and the etching tank. Now, before we get to any of that, there is one pressing problem that I want to try and resolve, and that problem is that our inventory is a mess, mostly due to the fact that our storage system is also a little bit of a mess. We've got 3 chests here. They're doing an okay job. We do have quite a bit of space in these chests now since we moved most of our elements over into the transmutation table. However, we do have a better mod installed that's going to allow us to, I think, streamline our storage a little bit in a fun way. And that mod is the Cloud Storage mod, a mod that I have not played with before, but that looks pretty cool. So this mod allows you to attach balloons to chests to send them up into the cloud, and then you can use that storage, as the name suggests, as cloud storage. So in order for this to work, we need a few things. We need a cloud chest, this one right here. We need at least 2 balloons. The balloons in this pack have been made a little easier to make, and it's not that balloon, it's this balloon, and they do have an EMC, which is very nice indeed. These are made with 1 string and 4 balloon pieces. In this pack, the balloon pieces can be made by dropping mystical red petals into the crucible with acid, which is code for phosphorus. Of course, we have mystical red petals ready to go, and I believe that, yes, we do still have some bone meal around as well, and so if we just bone meal up these mystical red petals, we can get a bunch more of them very quickly, and then we're not going to need too many of them, again, because of the fact that the balloons do have an EMC. I'm also fairly hopeful that we have at least 1 string. We don't, and so we might have to go and attack some spiders when night falls, which of course we can get to faster by sleeping during the day. But before we do that, the cloud chest itself does require some cloud blocks, and these are made by throwing oxygen into the crucible with Vital. And if we check the quest up here, Vital is sacrifice a passive mob, brackets, animal. And so that's not something we've done. I'm going to go ahead and shift right click the crucible here to empty it. And then if we refill that with water, I assume that we just kill a mob near the crucible. And if we're going to do that, we're probably going to want to get some wheat and see if we can't go and maybe drag a cow over to the crucible. Okay, so I've managed to lure this cow back. Our Void Harvester does do a fair bit of damage, but then again, so does our Iron Axe. If I could get you to just jump on top of the crucible, I assume it doesn't have to be directly on top of the crucible for it to count as a kill. That sounded like it did something. Let me get my litmus paper and let's see if that actually did anything. It did. We have low vital. Interesting. Okay, so now the question is, if I were to put some oxygen in there, do we have enough vital for anything to actually happen? It's quite possible that we might have to kill at least 1 more animal to bring that up to kind of medium vital before it'll do anything, but there's only one way to find out. Yeah, no, that just took the oxygen. So I'm going to go and grab 1 more animal, and I guess we might as well also go ahead and get an iron sword. And while we're out and about, we can also keep an eye out for spiders, especially now that night is upon us, and we can see if we can get at least 1 piece of string. All right, so not too long later, and we've managed to get vitality up to medium, and I found the easiest way for us to do that was villagers, actually, because we have a surprisingly low number of passive mobs around us. And basically what I ended up doing was using the tempad to teleport passive mobs and villagers back quite quickly. And so we built like a little box around the crucible and then just pushed mobs or villagers into the tempad portal. And I've put a new one down right above the crucible so that when we push them through it, they get teleported to here. Again, we put up a little box around this so that they were stuck in here. It looks like you do have to kill the mob directly on top of the crucible, which is a bit of a pain in the backside, but right now we do have vitality medium on this crucible. And so I'm hoping now that if we again try dropping an oxygen in here, we should, in theory, get ourselves a cloud block. And thankfully, the cloud block does have an EMC value, and so we should be able to fairly quickly get 8 of these. We can then craft those 8 cloud blocks around, I believe it's a regular Minecraft chest. It is indeed. That gets us a cloud chest, which also has an EMC value, although I'm not sure. I don't think we're going to need more than 1 of these. So essentially, the idea here is that we can put down this cloud chest wherever we like. Let's say we put it right about here. And right now, it says no balloon assigned to this chest. So I did manage to get a string. And of course, we do need to clear this of its vitality, which is fine because I don't think we need the vitality for anything else, at least not just yet. And we can go and get more villagers to bring that up again if we needed to. So let's do this, and then let's drop in some phosphorus to once again make this acidic. 64 is probably overkill. I think we need maybe 8, but I'll put in 10 just to be safe. That should make this more than acidic enough. Never mind, it looks like it takes closer to 20 phosphorus to actually get it to be a medium acidity. But now that we have that, we should just be able to drop in those 4 petals. That's going to get us the 4 balloon pieces. Again, I don't think we're going to need these individually, but I'll put them in the transmutation table just to be safe. And then back over here, we can craft 4 balloon pieces with 1 string to get 1 balloon. This we do want to put in the transmutation table because this we do want to get quite a few of. Thankfully, they do stack. That's very helpful. And essentially what we can do now is we can right-click one of these balloons onto the balloon chest. And that is going to be our link to our cloud storage. And as the name suggests, and as any IT professional will tell you, cloud storage is storage in the clouds. And so the way this works is right now, our cloud storage chest is empty because it says no cloud inventory with this balloon color. And so all we have to do is take a chest, and if you want to get your chest up into the clouds, you just right-click it with a balloon, and that balloon will take that storage to the clouds. And once that chest gets to the clouds, it will then be accessible in our cloud storage system. So if we sleep, I think that will accelerate the speed at which the cloud storage chest makes its way up into the clouds. We did just get an achievement, which makes me think that the chest has made its way up. And so now if we look in here, we can see that we have 1 chest's worth of inventory space. And basically, what we can do now is we can send really as many chests as we like. Can I do this? I can't. Sometimes that works as a recipe for making chests. Unfortunately, not in this pack. That is fine. Let's do this. Let's do this. And then let's do that. 24 chests seems like a lot. And we might not send that many up. But if we do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, we can send each one of these up into the sky, like so. And every single one that we send up is going to add more storage to our cloud chest. And so what we should be able to do, once we've sent everything up, and I'm not quite sure why the sky is looking quite so trippy tonight, but once we've got all of those up there, we should then be able to just move everything from all of our chests into that 1 singular cloud storage chest. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, we could then, if we wanted to, have multiple of these cloud storage chests located around the base, and they are all going to have access to all of the same items because it's cloud storage. It syncs across all of the chests. Now, these are a little expensive. They do require 1024 EMC each, and it looks like they stack in sets of 8, but that is completely fine. Now, one thing that I don't know that I would like to test out here, if I send a chest up that has something in it, for example, if I send up this chest with 14 bread, I'm not sure if that's actually going to keep the bread in the chest or if it's going to delete the bread but give us that chest's storage space. It totally works. Nice. And look at this. We have a ton of space in this chest. And so now what we should be able to do then in that case is just send all of these chests that contain all of our items up into the cloud. And you can even, I believe, color coordinate this. I believe you can color the balloons if you'd like. And I think you just right click on them to dye them potentially. And if you do that, you can have multiple different cloud storage networks if you wanted to have different networks for different items, for example. But real quick, I'm going to sleep just a little bit more to try and get the chests up into the clouds nice and fast. And there we go. We have all of our stuff in one chest and we've got a ton of space going forward. We should just be able to dump basically everything that we have here into this chest. And it also has a little search button. So I did just see that I put my temp pad in there. And so if I just type in temp pad, I can then pull it right back out and then go back to normal inventories. It's also got a little sort button. You press sort and it's going to organize it nicely like it would with any other chest. And so yeah, now we can just store all of our stuff in one nice, easy to use location going forward. Pretty cool stuff. Either way, now that's taken care of, I'm going to put my Philosopher's Stone back in the click machine. I temporarily took that out because we attempted to transform some of the horses that were nearby into other mobs to make them a little easier to kill over the Crucible. But either way, now that that is taken care of, let's see if we can't get these PCBs made. So, if we're going to make this happen, the first thing that we need is an empty PCB. The empty PCB can be made in the pressure chamber with redstone torches, gold nuggets, and plastic sheets. Of course, we've got a bunch of plastic sheets in here. We should have a fair amount of redstone. I'll take some sticks here, and I can see my redstone. It is right there. And we also have some gold nuggets. Would you look at that? Fantastic. So I think we're probably going to need a couple of PCBs. I don't think that 3 is going to be enough. So I'll probably make quite a few redstone torches here. Let's go with 8 for the time being. If we go with 8 redstone torches, that means we need 12 gold nuggets and 4 plastic sheets. The plastic sheets we of course have. That's not going to be a problem. Gold, on the other hand, we do not have, but that's completely fine. We can of course get some from our transmutation tablet, and we might go ahead at some point today and get another click machine actually and place that click machine down again over by our cosmic dust so that we can get a nice influx of EMC whenever we need it. Boom. And you know what? I'll just put them both in here, and then we'll give the temporal pouch a little bit of time to shine. Fantastic. Let's craft those down into nuggets, and then it should just be as simple as putting basically all of this stuff into here. So we'll do 8 redstone torches, we'll do 12 gold nuggets, and we'll do 4 plastic sheets. If the pressure is high enough, which is definitely not, we're at 0.11 bars, which is nowhere near the required amount, let's quickly grab some blaze rods, and thankfully, due to the fact that we made some speed upgrades for specifically this air compressor previously, it should now burn through these blaze rods significantly faster than it was before, and you'll see this bar is moving still quite slowly, but it is a lot quicker than it was previously. For example, if I put these in here, you'll see the flame burns much slower, and this bar barely moves. 0.57 is going down because it's opening up for more stuff to work its way in. Also, I think the vortex tube might be holding us back here. So, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and break this. That is going to lose pressure over here, but it's going to keep pressure over here, which I think is exactly what we want. Right now, we don't really care too much about the chest there. If I break with this and this, that's hopefully going to quiet it down for a second anyway. But here, you'll see it's 0.61, 0.62, 0.63. It's pretty slow. If we put them in here, it's going up way faster. Again, whenever this opens up, it does go down a little bit, but when it's not open, you know, 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, it's going up significantly faster, which is very nice indeed. Hopefully, though, this should work. All the items are in there, and look at that. Boom. It's done. We should see those circuits come out any second now. And there we go. 12 empty PCBs. Nice. Now that we have those, we need the UV light box. This is pretty straightforward. It needs 1 pressure tube, it needs 4 compressed iron, 1 PCB blueprint, which I believe we did get as a reward for completing this quest right here. We did indeed. I think that's the only way to get that blueprint, unfortunately. And then we need 3 redstone lamps, which require 4 redstone dust and some glowstone. Glowstone we don't currently have, although I believe, much like, of course, our fence situation is not ideal because the lava is still causing fires. So there's a few things. Oh, of course, that is the problem with leaving the fuel in there, especially with speed upgrades, is that things explode. So we did lose an air compressor there. Thankfully, we got the speed upgrades back. That's quite handy. I will have to make another air compressor, although for now, with the speed upgrades, 1 should be enough. We just need to be careful about how many blaze rods we put in. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to sleep, and if you shift right click, you can sleep regularly, which is nice because it means we don't have to wait like a minute and a half for the night to pass. And what I think I might do here is replace the fence, because although I do like the fence is susceptible to fire. And so what I might do actually is I might make some wall out of the everythingness block, which is something that I didn't know we could do until recently. If we grab a bunch of this. We can just craft this into everything this wall, which looks pretty cool, and I think is going to be a nice little thematic addition to our base in the overworld. Alright, so we've got a little bit of everything this wall around the base now, which should hopefully not burn like our wooden fencing does. And now that we've done that, we can focus back in on this UV light box. So the glowstone here, as I was about to say, I believe can be crafted, much like the redstone and the lapis, using mana infusion. So this does require netherrack, though, which we currently do not have. I'm being told by the Twitch chat that the blaze mesh, if we place it under the oil refinery, will cool down into glowstone. I wonder a few things then, actually. I wonder if you could cool it down with the vortex cube, which I guess means I wonder if you can cool it down. I don't think this is going to work, but I'm interested to try. If I just put like an everything that's blocked down next to that, I assume that doesn't cool it down to the point where it transforms, but instead what we should be able to do is pick up the lava over here. Of course, temporarily take this out to stop it making that horrible sound. And then if we put a blaze mesh down underneath the refinery, supposedly that is going to heat up the refinery and potentially cool down into glowstone. So that did actually work. If I break this, we only got 2 glowstone, which is unfortunate, but the fact that it worked means that putting one more of these down, it does seem to take a little bit of time, but of course we can sleep to accelerate that. And once we have 4 glowstone, we can make a glowstone block, and that does appear to have an EMC. So going forward, it should just be a case of EMCing the remainder of our glowstone. Unfortunately, the dust itself doesn't have an EMC, but the blocks do. There's our second block of glowstone. If we break that, we get 6 pieces of glowstone. But if we take this block, we can throw it in here, and now we have as much glowstone as we like, which is fantastic. We can, of course, just place that down and brick it to get as much glowstone dust as we need going forward, which is very nice indeed. In this case, we need actually just 3 blocks of glowstone now that I mention it. So 1, 2, 3 of those is all we're after. We might need some more redstone here because we do need 4 redstone per lamp, and we only have 9 redstone on us, and I'm fairly certain that we don't have any more in the system. We do not. Right now, our mana pool is not set up for redstone. However, we do have our red concrete powder, and as per usual, we've got a ton of cosmic dust ready to go. Let's swap out the blue concrete for the red concrete powder. Let's drop all 9 of these into here. Fantastic. And that should be everything we need for the 3 redstone lamps, 1, 2, and 3. And from there, we just need to get our pressurized tubing back out. And we also need some compressed iron, which I think we should have in here. We totally do. Nice. That should be everything for the UV light box. It is indeed. And then if we place this down, let's say right about here, we can now place the PCBs into here. And basically, this is going to slowly but surely increase its etch success chance. And basically, the idea here is that we are going to put the PCBs into the etching tank with some etching acid. And that is going to start to etch the actual PCB. And depending on the etch success chance, it will either become an actual PCB or it will become scrap. This right here, the failed PCB. The longer you leave it in the light box, the higher the chance you'll actually get a working PCB. Now, this does require pressure, so I'm going to go ahead and move this from here over and around to here. Okay, this does need at least 1 bar worth of pressure. That's fine. I'm only going to put maybe like 3 blaze rods in here because, again, I don't want this to go up to the point where it actually explodes. That would not be ideal. Let's throw in that PCB. The good news for us, of course, is that we do have our temporal pouch and we have the ability to sleep to increase the speed of this UV light box because by default, it is quite slow. You'll see here 7%, 8%, 9%, 10%. It's not crazy slow, but it's also not crazy fast. I guess we can leave that in there for the time being and take a look at the etching tank, which we'll bookmark, and the etching acid, which we can also bookmark. This seems fairly straightforward. It's 1 bucket of water with 1 nitrogen, 3 chlorine, 3 oxygen, 1 hydrogen, 1 iron. So over here, we definitely have iron. I'll take 1 of those. We definitely have oxygen. I'll take 1 of those. We should have nitrogen. We used that before. We should have hydrogen. We've used that before as well. I did need 3 oxygen, not just the 1. That's fine. We'll take 2 more of those. And then chlorine, I'm not too sure on. We do. Nice. We'll take 3 of those as well. Cool. So now that we have all of that, the only missing piece is just water, actually. So let's put that back down and let's go ahead and grab just a little bit of stone to fill in the gaps there. We'll do this, and of course we'll put you back in there just to make sure that keeps doing its thing. We do need a bucket of water. We can grab that from over here, and as per usual, if we throw all of that into the hopper feeding into the pressure chamber here, that should produce the etching acid for us, assuming that the pressure is high enough, which it might not be actually. This is coming along nicely. I will put 1 or 2 more blaze rods in there just to pump that pressure up just a little bit. And while we wait for that, we do need to get ourselves the etching tank. Now, we do currently have a spare fluid tank right here, which I will steal for the time being. We can always make more in the future if we need them. We then need some reinforced brick slabs. We need some reinforced brick wall. We need 2 obsidian, and we need a glass pane. So obsidian we should have left over from when we mined it for the transmutation table, although it would appear that we don't have any left. That's fine. We can go get more from the nearby lava pool. Glass we don't have, but we do have some sand in here, and so we can go and start smelting that, although 4 is still not going to be enough, so actually I am going to have to once again grab my philosopher's stone and go and transform a bit of dirt into sand. In terms of the reinforced stone, we have a little bit of reinforced stone. We do have quite a few reinforced stone slabs, but we need reinforced brick slabs, which are not the same thing. That is fine. Let me get some more compressed iron. As per usual, we can do that with the element that is Fe, and we can just drop that into our acid crucible, assuming we have enough acid in there, which apparently we do not. That's fine. We can get some more phosphorus and fill that up nice and easily. We can then craft that, of course, with the stone, like so. That's going to get us a lot of this reinforced stone, and then we need the reinforced bricks, which we make by crafting the stone, and then we can turn that into slabs, like so. We don't need that many of these, so that should be fine. And then the wall is also pretty straightforward. The Twitch chat is reminding me that we threw all of our obsidian into the transmutation table, which is why we no longer have any. That makes complete sense. And so now, this is almost done. We should have everything we need to get the etching tank. Oh, of course, we need that glass pane. That is fine. Let me quickly do something like this. We don't need that much sand. We did already have 4, and we only need 6 if we're going to make glass pins. And once we have the glass, I am now seeing that the glass also has an EMC value, which is very handy for the future. And boom, there's our glass pins, and boom, that is our etching tank. Nice. So we'll throw that down. Over here, we have our etching acid, which I believe we can put into our etching tank. We totally can. And so now we should be able to take our PCB, and currently there's an 81% success chance. So it's quite likely that if we were to take this out now and place it into the etching tank, that it would become a PCB, but there is a small non-zero chance that it would become a failed PCB. And you'll notice here that it does get slower the closer to 100% you get. Now, of course, we can take our speed upgrades and put these in here, and I believe that is going to speed up the rate at which this works, but it is also going to use more of the pressure that we've built up, and of course, given that we've just taken the speed upgrades out of our air compressor and put them in here, it's now going to be slower for us to refill that compressed air with the blaze rods. But there we go. It is now at 100%. That didn't take too long, actually. I will put the next one in there, and I might as well leave the speed upgrades in. I don't know. Yeah, the pressure is going to fall way too fast to keep up with that. So you know what? Let's put them in there. And we can, of course, use the temporal pouch here to make that a little bit faster, to make it a lot faster, actually. But in here, if we throw in the empty PCB, that should slowly but surely get transformed into a PCB. You'll see right here, it says the etching time is 150 seconds. So it does take almost 3 minutes, just over 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes to be specific, in order to transform. And so we could ideally do with getting a lot of these in at once. And I'm not quite sure how much etching acid it uses. I don't think it's 1 bucket per PCB, but I'm not entirely certain on that. So I'm being told by the Twitch chat that if we put heat down next to the etching tank, it will go faster. However, the downside is that if you don't apply heat, the etching acid isn't used. So you can just put the 1 bucket in and it will last forever. Whereas if you do apply heat to the tank, it will go faster, but it will also use the etching acid. So I assume that it's probably going to be easier in that sense for us to just use our temporal pouch or just use our sleeping ability to increase the speed of the etching acid. And so what I think I'll probably do is throw in a few more blaze rods into here, bring the pressure up to almost 5. I don't want it to quite get to 5 because obviously I don't want it to explode. But then once it gets close to 5, we can take the speed upgrades out, place them into the UV light box. That should hopefully increase the etch success chance nice and quickly. And then what I'll do is I'll just fill this etching tank up with a bunch of empty PCBs. And once we've got all 12 in there, then we'll look at sleeping or accelerating this with the pouch to make it super fast. All right, this last one is at 96%. I'm going to risk it. 96% shouldn't fail. In here, you can see that whilst we've been making all of the other PCBs here, 6 unassembled PCBs have been created. And so I really don't think we have to bother too much with accelerating this with our temporal pouch. We can always come back to that, and we should have some more fully unassembled PCBs in just a second. But now the next quest wants us to finish the PCB. To do that, we have to craft our 1 unassembled PCB with 2 transistors and 2 capacitors. The transistors and capacitors are both made in the same way. The transistors are made in the pressure chamber with 3 gold nuggets, 1 redstone, and 1 plastic. And the capacitors are also made in the pressure chamber, this time with 2 gold nuggets, 1 slime ball, and 1 plastic sheet. The slime ball is interesting because we can make it, but it looks like we're going to need green dye and a bucket of milk, which is kind of something. Oh, never mind. We can craft a wheat dough with a lime dye. That is substantially easier, actually, because we can take our wheat from here. We can craft that with a bucket of water. Let me quickly throw this down somewhere, anywhere for the time being. Let's grab some water. I think 1 water and then either 3 or 4 wheat. It's 3 wheat. Get you wheat dough. And then the lime dye we should be able to make using the lime petals that we have here. We can just craft that like so. Craft the lime dye with the wheat dough. That gets us the slime balls, and as you love to see, the slime balls have an EMC value, so we can throw those in there, and now we have access to an unlimited number of slime balls going forward. And so really, we just need a bunch of gold nuggets, plastic sheets, and redstone for the transistor. Obviously, the plastic sheets we have, got over a stack of those still in our inventory. Redstone we've got a few of, that's also fine. Gold nuggets we made extra of earlier, so that is fine as well. Let's start by just making 1 PCB, and then hopefully we'll find out how many we're actually going to need. So to begin with, we need 2 transistors, I'll bookmark those, and we need 2 capacitors, I'll bookmark those. So 2 capacitors is going to be 4 golden nuggets, 1, 2, 3, 4, along with 2 slime balls and 2 plastic sheets. That shouldn't take too long. Once that's done, we need 2 more plastic sheets, 2 more redstone, yes, and 6 gold nuggets. So you might need more pressure, if I were to guess. That is fine. That is doing its thing slowly but surely. Again, we do want to make sure that we don't leave those in, I think. At least not all of them, because we don't want that to explode. Those capacitors are done. Fantastic. Let's drop in the redstone, the gold nuggets, and the plastic sheets. And there we go. 2 transistors and 2 capacitors. Let's take those over here, and let's craft our unassembled PCB into a finished PCB. That's going to complete this quest. And now we need to make quite a few different machines from Pneumatic Craft. We need the assembly IO unit. We need the assembly platform. We need the assembly controller, the assembly laser, and the assembly IO export. That's quite a few items, but I think we can make this happen. So each one of these requires 1 PCB, apart from the controller, that needs 3. So that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 PCBs. 7 PCBs is fine. I then noticed we need quite a few of these pneumatic cylinders. Those are a little plastic expensive, but we do have quite a bit of plastic. So we need how many of these? 3, 6, 8, 11. We need 11 of these, which means we're going to have to make 12 because you make them in sets of 2. So we need to make 6 lots. 6 multiplied by 6 is 36. So we need 36 plastic, we need 12 compressed iron, and we need 6 cannon barrels. The cannon barrels are just made with pressure tubes and reinforced brick wall. That seems pretty straightforward. None of this seems impossible. The only slightly tricky bit is just making all of the finished PCBs, right? So we already have 1 PCB. If we're going to make 7 more, that means that we need 14 transistors and 14 capacitors, which should be fine. I think really the only thing we don't have is gold, and we can take a bunch of gold out of here. The only trouble is that we run out of EMC very quickly. And so, as I mentioned before, what I might do, I'll throw that in there, get that smelting up. But also, we don't need the glass here. It has an EMC value. But I might get another clicker and see about using that to get us more EMC. So for that, we do need more living rock. That is fine because we can take some cobblestone and just whack that down around our pure daisy. That's going to slowly but surely transform into living rock for us. We are going to need another block of redstone, which does mean we need at least 9 more cosmic dust. And again, if we're going to make 7 more PCBs, that means that we need, again, 14 more transistors, which means that we need at least 14 more redstone on top of the 9 that we need for this block here. So we need 19 more in total. Boom, boom, and boom. There's our clicker. Let's get that back down over here, and let's get... Actually, I'm going to put it closer to the transmutation table, because right now we get a lot more elements out than we put cosmic dust in. So at the moment, if I put it here, I can take a stack of cosmic dust, place it in there, but then you get like 20 stacks of elements, which I have to carry them back over to here. So I think it makes more sense for us to put the clicker here and then just go and bring the cosmic dust from this chest over to the clicker, like so, crank that, of course, to 20 clicks per second, and then we can just stand here and dump these directly back into the transmutation tablet. We don't need that much gold in terms of ingots, because that is a ton of nuggets, which is probably more than we need. So let's see. I think we probably do have what we need here. Again, we need 14 redstone, and somehow I've managed to end up with just 13. That's fine. I'll take 1 more cosmic dust. We'll drop that in our mana pool, like so. Fantastic. That gets us the 14 redstone dust. Again, if we're going to make 14 of the transistors, we then need 14 plastic and 42 gold nuggets. So we'll do 14 of you, we'll do 14 of you, and we'll do 42 of you. Nice. That should make us the transistors. While we wait for that, let's see if we have what it takes to make the 14 comparators. Again, same thing here, actually, and this is actually much easier because of the fact that the slime balls do have an EMC. We need 14 slime balls, which is that. Fantastic. And then we just need 14 plastic along with 28 golden nuggets. So there are our 14 transistors. Let's do the same again. 14 slime balls, 14 plastic, and 28 golden nuggets. And there we go. We now have 14 capacitors and 14 transistors. And so now we should be able to start crafting all of our unfinished PCBs into finished PCBs. Over here, we got lucky on that 96% chance, and we did actually manage to get all of the unassembled PCBs, which is fantastic. There are the 8 finished PCBs, and so now it's just a case of getting a lot of these pneumatic cylinders, as well as a lot of compressed iron and a few other bits and bobs along the way. This all seems pretty straightforward. So I think I figured out that I need 12 of these pneumatic cylinders. So let's start, I guess, with this. And actually, let's start part 1 by getting some more. Actually, we got 60 compressed iron. 60 compressed iron might do it for us, actually, now that I think about it. So for this, we just need some glass. Glass, thankfully, has an EMC value. I'm going to take a stack of it just to have in our inventory. And speaking of our inventory, let's clear out some of the stuff that we know we're not going to need just yet. Okay, so step 1, I'm going to make a regular old hopper because I did see one of the recipes. I think it's actually the first. I'm making a mess of this. There it is. The first recipe here does require a hopper. That's fine. And so back to these pneumatic cylinders. The tubes are easy enough. We'll make a bunch of those just to be safe. So we do need a bunch of reinforced brick wall. That's fine. We've got a bunch of reinforced stone. We can craft that into reinforced brick, and then we can craft that down into reinforced brick wall. Fantastic. Once we have that, we can make a bunch of these cannon barrels. Again, we need just 6 of them. We only have what it takes to make 4, but I think that's just due to a lack of walls. So I'll make the rest of these into walls like so, and that should allow us to craft the remaining 2 cannon barrels. It does indeed. From there, we should be able to craft all 12 of the pneumatic cylinders, and with that, I think we're pretty much good to go. There is the assembly.io unit for importing. I'll unbookmark that. The assembly platform is also good to go. We can unbookmark that. The assembly controller, you guessed it, good to go. We can unbookmark that. The assembly laser is almost good to go. We need specifically red stained glass, which is interesting. The assembly.io unit export also requires yet another hopper. That is completely fine. Let's grab 2 more logs out of here, craft those into planks, and of course, into a chest. And then finally, the old Minecraft hopper. That should be everything for the export unit. It is indeed. We could have crafted the import unit into an export unit just by crafting it manually, but I think we are going to need both of those, so I feel like it's not worth, doing it just to complete the quest. And then the final thing that we need is this assembly laser, which does require that red stained glass, but as per usual, we should be able to get some red petals out of our system, craft that into red dye, and then craft that with our EMCable glass to get some red stained glass. Nice. That should be everything for the assembly laser. It is indeed. And with that, we complete the line of quests for Pneumatic craft machinery. And now there's a quest called Easier PCBs. It says using the assembly laser program, obtaining PCBs is way easier. Assembly programs can be bought through the Amadron, which is this guy right here. And the next quest wants us to make a flux dust, which we have to do using the assembly controller with the aforementioned assembly program laser. So the way this works, right now this has 10 bars of pressure, so this actually works out of the gate, which is fantastic. Normally you have to manually charge this, but what we should be able to do is make a regular chest, place that down somewhere over here, and if you shift right click with the Amadron tablet, this tablet is now our pickup and drop off point. So if we right click the tablet, this is basically a shop that you can purchase things from and sell things to. For example, we need this guy, the assembly program laser, and it costs 49 silver coins. We have 60 silver coins. Can I withdraw 49 silver coins? I totally can. So if I put 49 silver coins into this chest and I open the Amadron tablet up, you'll see that now all of the trades that require silver coins have become available. And so if we click on this one right here, right click on it that is, and click place order, what should happen is a drone from the Amadron Corporation should come down, steal our silver coins, which it has done, and then the drone will leave, a new drone will come back, and that drone should drop off for us the program that we need. Nice. Okay, cool. So now we need to throw down the required machines to actually produce this flux dust, and those machines are the assembly platform, the I/O unit for import and export, the assembly laser, and all of the setups here do require the assembly controller, so I think we basically have to throw down everything that we have here. Now, I'm pretty sure this does require compression, and by compression I mean air. So what I'll do is I'll put down the controller right here. I think the controller is where you connect the pressure to, like this, and then all that we have to do after that is make sure that things are placed down correctly. So I'm fairly certain the way this works, we can put down the laser like this, we can put the import down, let's say like this, and we'll put the export down like that. If we have them all down around the assembly platform, I think that works, because I think we can then have like a chest here and a chest here, and these lasers will import from their adjacent chest and export to their adjacent chest as well. At least I think that's how that works. Let me get 2 more chests and put those down next to the import and export arms. Boom and boom. We then do need to put the actual program in, like so, and by the looks of it, we do also need to get our pressure up quite high, so let's grab a few more blaze rods. We need between 3.5 and 5 bars of pressure here, so we'll throw that in. I'll give it a little tap with the pouch to make it a little bit faster, and as per usual, I'll take most of those out once we get pretty close so that we don't explode. We should look at getting a safety valve sooner rather than later, so we don't have to keep doing that, but this is almost there, and so we should be able to put 8 redstone, I think, into the import chest, and that might just work. So let's get 8 cosmic dust. Let's drop all 8 cosmic dust into the old mana pool. Then let's drop all 8 of that redstone dust into the input chest. And you'll see that slowly but surely, the assembly I/O unit for importing is going to pull that redstone out of the chest. You can, by the way, make all of this faster, I believe, by putting these speed upgrades into the assembly controller. There we go. And then once the redstone has been placed in, the laser is going to start etching the redstone. And then once the etching has completed, as long as we have enough pressure, which we might not do. No, we totally do. Look at that. The export arm is going to take that redstone and boom, we have flux dust. Look at that. And the final quest in the Industrial Age questline here is the peripheral casing. This requires 4 flux dust, which we can definitely do. We just need 8 more redstone for that. While we wait for that to do its thing, we also need 4 Terra Steel and then 1 compressed stone. The compressed stone is easy enough. We might actually have some over in here. Never mind, we don't. However, we do have some smooth stone, and we should be able to throw that smooth stone into our acid, if it is still acid, which it's not. That's fine. We can put some more phosphorus in there. That gets us the compressed stern. This didn't quite finish because it is out of pressure. That's fine. We can give it a little bit of a boost there, and that should get us the remaining 2 flux dust. It did indeed. And then obviously the final bit, which might be the trickiest bit, is the terrasteel. The terrasteel, of course, as we made before, is copper, iron, and mana steel ingots. The mana steel ingots just being gold. That actually seems pretty straightforward. Gold, we do have some left over in the form of nuggets here. Let's craft those back into their ingot form. We need 3 mana steel ingots. 1, 2, 3. It looks like we've got a fair amount of mana in that pool. I think, hopefully, enough to get us everything we need here. Let's grab 3 copper. Let's grab 3 iron. And I guess let's just give it a go, shall we? So we'll do 1. That's not right. I need to put down the mana steel, not the gold. So we'll do 1, 2, 3. That's 1. Let's do 1, 2, 3. That's 2. Let's do 1, 2, 3. I am now realizing we needed 4. I don't know why I thought 3 was the number we needed. Do we have 1 terrasteel left, or did we use that other terrasteel? We didn't use it. Fantastic. So 3 was indeed the correct amount. And so now that should be everything that we need for the peripheral casing. And boom, peripheral casing acquired. And with that, chat, we, for some reason, get another Amadron tablet. I'm not entirely certain why we would need a second one of those, but we have completed the industrial age of the questline here. We're on to the digital age, which starts over here with the digital age readme. Again, nothing to read here, but there is a primal age tick box, which we will tick at the start of the next stream, because now we are unfortunately out of time for this episode of UniversIO.